as team B. So, from that perspective, it's really important to use your recognition methods, again, to help get your narrative out there, to make sure that you're putting information into the coffer, to make sure that you're addressing some of those perceptions, right? Putting information out there for people to form the right perception of you and your team. Status reporting. So generally speaking, I think we all use some sort of status reporting, no matter where we are in the organization. Unless we're on the board, everybody reports to somebody. So generally speaking, these are weekly and bi-weekly things that we do to keep our leaders and managers in the know of what's going on. But typically, what goes into a status report? There's a lot of things out there for, an RY, red, yellow, green report, or, going project by project and some details and whatnot. What I would say is that you should consider putting any information in your status report that people reach out to you individually, that people reach out to you for in terms of information. It's far more efficient for you to push information on a weekly basis than to service individual requests for information. It takes up a lot of time. And, again, this approach is proactive in terms of putting information out there. And it also gives you another way to put you in charge of crafting your own narrative, right? The information that you choose to put into these status reports. Ultimately, a status report is designed to make things easier on you. And you should use it as such. Again, it takes a lot of time to respond to individual requests for information up and down the organization. So if you're sending a broad email, if you're sending things like that, consider adding information to it based on what you're being asked. If you have a more complex scenario, a test leader that works on multiple projects, or multiple development teams, you would really benefit from an established and signed off communication plan. If you're a service organization, a communication plan works great. Generally speaking, a communication plan defines three things, right? What you're going to communicate on a weekly basis, the recipients of that communication, and a cadence of that communication. The beauty of an established and signed off communication plan is typically only good things can come from delivering upon the agreed upon plan, right? Because in that scenario, everybody, all of your business partners have signed off on this communication plan. So at that point, it's up to you to deliver on the communication plan. So again, it's something that, once you get agreement on it, sticking to it, hopefully only good things will come from it. Oh my goodness, hold on. There we go. So a community of practice. In a lot of distributed organizations or places where test is dotted line up through marketing organizations or up through dev, forming a community of practice can be really beneficial. The ability to meet on a regular basis, you can talk about problems and issues, you can talk about successes and lessons learned. It's a tremendous way to brainstorm and talk about problems and potential solutions. In a past role, I actually had formed a community of practice amongst all of the test resources. And one of the things that we were struggling with on both sides is how to really visualize what the next 4 to 8 weeks looks like, and communicate when we would be really, really busy or understaffed or short-staffed versus, when we had capacity. And, working with my manager and working with my leads, we came up with something that was pretty effective. And we were able to share that potential solution with the other test team that was, in our organization, and was able to, talk about that and see what we could do to help them out. So, if there are problems, anything that anybody is struggling with, or if there are automation problems, or if there's process problems, having a community of practice is extremely beneficial. You can meet every other week or meet once a month and really, talk about those problems and issues and successes and share information. And with that, I have some final thoughts. Relationships matter. There's no way about it. Relationships matter, and you should invest in them strategically. Again, it's a great way for you to help to control your own narrative. As we said before, perceptions are often reality unless you do something to change it. And establishing those relationships and fostering them and investing in them is actually a great way to help to change some of those perceptions. Value your human capital. It's been proven over and over and over and over again that an enabled and engaged team can accomplish far more than a team lead or a manager of a team. Invest in those people. And finally, believe in your direct reports. I have on multiple occasions worked with reports to do things that their previous managers said that they couldn't do. Give your folks the ability and opportunities to stretch and grow. What I've learned over the years is I would much rather coach an employee through a new experience than deny them that same opportunity. Ultimately, you can grow the capabilities of your organization, with that mentality. And with that, I am at the end of the slides, and I'm ready for questions.
All right, feel free to ask your questions either Q&A or chat. We'll pick them up in either spot and communicate those to Carlos. I liked your point on over communicating as opposed to under communicating. Better to have all the information, and then you can pick and choose of what's pertinent as opposed to having to go search for it. So definitely on board with that.
Yes, and I loved how you talked about cadence with your communication, so that it seems like that would be a great way for people to expect when they're going to be receiving communications or when they need to be on, so they can have those blocks of time to focus on work when they need to. So I just wonder how you balance that.
It's interesting. I have typically had situations where, we've decided that on Thursday, we're going to send out this communication and really update the entire organization on where we are as a test team. And so, I know that this has to be out, by the end of the day on Thursday, right? So, whatever my schedule looks like, I put an hour on my schedule to be able to really deliver on that cadence, right? So, whatever it is, you can schedule around it or schedule to cater to it.
Right.
Oh, there we go. And this comes from Mr. Blake. Mark Blake, what are your thoughts on how to foster relationships while working remotely?
I say let your work drive the effort, meaning that if you're working with a particular dev leader or a particular project manager, there are going to be things that force you to go to have to relate to each other. With that, I think that when you identify who those key resources is, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, let's set up 15 minutes so that we can sync every week or every couple of weeks, right? Just to make sure that we know what's coming and that we're going about things in the most efficient way possible, right? And and with that invite, you can state, hey, if we need it, great, we'll use it and we'll talk about it, and if not, let's see how each other's doing and let's move on about our business and save each other some time. So again, it's a way to get some of that relationship equity. The one thing about working remotely is that you can't sit in somebody's desk and wait on them, right? It's an honor system, right? When you reach out on Slack or a messaging app, they don't necessarily have to answer you, right? So, really getting a meeting on the schedule and working to get that, accepted and get that time on the calendar is the big thing there.
I don't see any other ones out there. I think you've either answered all the questions tonight, Carlos, or everybody's really, really hungry tonight. I'm not sure which.
I think there's some good information there, and I hope that it's useful. And I would imagine that there are a few hungry people out there. I know I am.
Okay. Well, very much appreciate you coming tonight. We will share this presentation. Shelley, I think you have the mechanisms for doing that for the folks that are out.
That is true, I do. And yes, we will be sharing this probably by Friday, if not sooner. We'll share everything out. And I'm sure if anybody had some questions for Carlos individually, I'm sure you'd be happy to field those, right, Carlos? Offline?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've had the same email and phone number forever. Anything that comes across LinkedIn or anything that comes through email, I would happily answer.
Great. Well, thank you for that. And we super appreciate your time tonight. And thanks to our audience, for everybody for showing up. And we will see you back in January when we have our next QASIG. So thanks, everybody, and have a great night.
Awesome. Good night.
All right. Thank you.